Hi guys, welcome to Nerdbytes. This is going to be my spoiler review for Justice League. Yes, of course there will be spoilers I'm putting to the back end of my review. I'll let you know when they're coming. So the Justice League, carrying on with the DC Cinematic Universe. A lot of people might think this is rushed into the Justice League, or there's been positives and negatives running through this film and whatnot, and with the lead up and obviously with it coming out. And you know, these are my honest thoughts. I really enjoyed it. I mean, it wasn't like the most perfect film in the world, you know what I mean? It wasn't like a blockbuster hit, but I really enjoyed myself. I had a good time at the cinema, the characters were fun, the plot was simple enough. You know, and yeah, it might be questioned that a little bit of moments were rushed with certain characters because we need to get into it with all these new characters, but overall I left thoroughly entertained. One thing I really like, I think the most, is the character building. I'm really quite surprised and happy of how quick they were able to build these characters and put them into this universe. Obviously we know a lot about Batman already, Wonder Woman's had her own film, Superman's had his own film including BVS, and so we know a lot about those three already, but with Cyborg and Aquaman and Flash, I really quite like how we got their origin story a little bit through little tidbits and we just kind of got on with it. And one thing I'm really looking forward to in the future is obviously these standalone films for these characters, and we don't have to have an origin story. Because all of us are getting to this point now, we're sick of origin stories, we're sick of finding out stuff that a lot of us already know because of the comics. We can just carry on here, we can just get on with it. We've done a little bit of origins in Justice League, let's carry on with their own standalone film and just get on with it and have some fun. And that is one thing that this film does well. Yeah, fun. It was a lot of fun. There was a lot of comedy moments in there as well. I wouldn't say there was as much as a Marvel film, but you could definitely see Joss Whedon's little take on it and what he's done to, you know, put a little pepper of comedy in there bit by bit. Flash, of course, was the main source of comedy, but it worked. It worked for his character. The little funny moments we got, they worked well. They weren't it wasn't too many jokes, it wasn't too little jokes. I think it was the right amount of jokes in the right areas. No moments were taken away with any comedy that was, you know, overshadowing a serious moment. It actually worked, and if they can keep going forward like this with this kind of format, I'm really going to start to enjoy this universe. Ben Affleck, of course, does awesome. Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, perfect. I really like Flash. Flash was really a lot of fun. Cyborg, we spent in a little bit more time on his origin story than others, but you know, again, not too much. I really quite enjoyed his character. I like the fact how he's able to interface with pretty much anything, and he does have a direct connection to the mother boxes as well. Obviously, we know that the reason he is the way he is because of one of the mother boxes, as we saw in BVS. So yeah, I really quite like that character. And then Jason Momoa as Aquaman was just... he was just a badass dude. He was just the cool dude that was just like, yeah, I'm going to swing my hair, I'm going to fucking kill some dudes, and I'm going to have an awesome time. And he was just that dude. It was awesome. Steppenwolf. We know he's the main bad guy for this. He's kind of like the right-hand man to Darkseid, and he's kind of basically trying to get these mother boxes together to destroy everything and rule the world, blah blah blah, that kind of stuff. Usual kind of comic book stuff. I would say that he was kind of a meh villain, and he wasn't perfect, he wasn't great, but he was good enough to get this team together. He was enough of a threat to get the team together. He was kind of like of a villain. He wasn't amazing, but he was substantial enough. Obviously we know that the main thing is going to be Darkseid in the future, so yeah, I mean, it was good. He was kind of rushed a little bit, I suppose, but we had to kind of get on with it. Negatives. I suppose negatives are mainly a few things were rushed here and there, as we would expect, especially Steppenwolf. He was kind of rushed and kind of a meh villain. The story, the plot was kind of quite simple. It was these mother boxes coming together to destroy everything. These guys need to get together to stop that. Very simple comic book stuff. So I would say that was quite simple, but with the character moments on top and the action that was there, because the action was awesome. The CGI was still pretty good. I'd say the CGI was a little bit with Cyborg a couple of times, but not too noticeable really. The CGI with the Flash was freaking awesome. I mean, I'm meant to be doing negatives here. I'm just talking about how good things are. Yeah, other negatives, I'm really struggling to find some really. I mean, I kind of wanted a little bit more out of Batman, but he was still awesome. He still was quite pivotal with the Batmobile and this flying ship thing that he's made as well. That was pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, a few negatives, but not major. But we're going to spoiler territory now, so if you haven't seen the film, make sure you go to the end of my video to check out my final verdict. Spoilers, you've been warned. Let's talk about the big spoiler. That isn't really a spoiler, because they put it in all the marketing material here and there all over the place, and they've given you hints throughout the last 2 years. Superman comes back. Of course he does, because you can't have the Justice League without Superman. Of course he comes back. but I like the way they did it. I like the fact that they use their powers, they use the mother box and the birthing chamber to bring Superman back, and that when he comes back he's not quite all there quite yet. He has a little bit of a tussle with the team, and then the thing that brings him round is Lois Lane, so that gives her a nice pivotal moment, because for the rest of the film she's not really that useful, to be perfectly honest. She's just there because she kind of has to be, but she's the one that brings him out of his funk, and that works, and I like that. It shows that they really are in love, and that's really great. It's a lovely moment when his mum sees him again for the first time. That's a lovely moment. Steppenwolf has basically getting these 3 mother boxes, and he spends the film grabbing hold of them. He gets one from the Amazonian island, from all those, and he kills one of Wonder Woman's sisters, I think. Then he gets one from Atlantis. You see these 2 separate battles happen, and that's pretty cool. Aquaman gets a little bit involved. He managed to get those 2. Then finally, when they use the last mother box to bring back Superman, as they're busy dealing with Superman, he comes in, gets the box, and fucks off. That's one thing I quite liked about Steppenwolf. Didn't fuck around. Got in, got his shit, gone. And that I quite liked. The character building with Batman and Wonder Woman worked extremely well. I actually quite like the way that the Flash and Cyborg built their relationship a little bit as well. They've kind of decided together, they're kind of like when they're digging up Superman's grave, they're having a little conversation. They basically said that, yeah, we're the mistakes, we're the ones that have gone wrong, and all that kind of stuff. So that was a nice little moment with them as well. As far as character build for Aquaman, there wasn't a lot with it. It just, again, because he's kind of the badass character, he can just kind of gel with everyone, and I quite liked how it works. I really like the bit when he's talking about stuff just before they go into the final battle, and he's sitting on the Batmobile talking to him, and as more goes on, he's like being quite truthful and quite open, and then you're just like, why is this happening all of a sudden? And then you realise he's sitting on the lasso of truth, and that was a really funny moment. That was quite good. Yeah, the final battle, really quite enjoyed it. I mean, the 3 mother boxes have been put together by Steppenwolf, all the parademons are everywhere, and Batman basically goes in with the Batmobile and uses this kind of sound that he got earlier on that they don't like, and draws them all away. Then you've got the other ones going in and attacking Steppenwolf, and you've got Cyborg interfacing with the mother box, because obviously he can with his tech, to basically stop it and slow it down and get rid of them and blow it up and whatnot. And then obviously you've got Flash as well, saving civilians, getting them out of the way, and then Superman returns, and I really quite liked his little entrance. I didn't see it coming in as quick like that. I thought they'd come up to a really big moment where they're all pinned down or something, but they're just in the middle of the fight, and then you just hear something like Steppenwolf saying, something about justice or peace, I can't remember what it was. But then you just hear the voice, you go, oh, he's back. He turns around, full on suit, looking awesome, and he goes, I quite like justice. Bang! And off he goes, beating the shit into him. Awesome. And then you've got a moment when he's helping civilians as well. So again, it's a really good character for Superman, because he does that. He goes off, he saves civilians, and then gets back into the fight. It's a lovely little moment with him and Barry Allen while they're saving civilians, which leads into an end credit scene later on, which I really enjoyed. So Steppenwolf, I don't know whether he's actually dead, because they managed to destroy his axe that he's been using the entire time, and then as soon as they've beaten the shit out of him, he gets that fear, and parademons don't like the fear. As soon as they lock onto it and start killing it, as soon as they realise he's got fear, they attack him, and then he kind of gets teleported out. You don't know whether he dies, because that teleporting out, I assume, is Darkseid taking him away with the parademons. He could still be alive, so we're yet to see whether that happens. Yeah, the lovely ending moments as well, kind of rounding off all the characters. You've got the lovely moment with Flash and his dad. His dad's in prison, wrongfully accused of killing his mum, and then he shows him that, I've got a recommendation, obviously we know who from, to start being a forensics person. That's really cool. You get a lovely moment with Cyborg and his dad. He gets an upgrade, kind of looking like the original armour. That looks cool. You get obviously great moments with Wonder Woman. She's out in the open now. She's helping people. That I really like. Batman, he's there with Wonder Woman and Alfred. Opens up the doors to the mansion and decides he's going to redecorate. Big table in the middle with 6 chairs, and then she goes, room for more. That I loved. I think that, yeah, Green Lantern, Hawkman, more, definitely. And you get a lovely, obviously, ending moment with Superman. He runs, he does the classic pulling out of his Superman thing and then flying off, and that is the end of the film. And overall, guys, I generally think it was a good way to end it. You got those all final character moments. You get the last one with Superman, because it has to be him flying off, and then we're looking forward to seeing more. End credit scenes. There's 2 of them, so make sure you stay to the very end. The first one is halfway through, and as I said before, it's Barry Allen and Superman, and they're doing a race. Basically, they're running to the Pacific Coast. You get a little bit of banter and everything. I really quite love the fact that they decided to do a race. That was, it was a lot of fun. So again, I can't wait to see the 2 on screen more together, because that I'm looking forward to. Final end credit scene. Didn't see it coming at all. If I'm perfectly honest, I thought they were going to go quite obvious with a Darkseid teaser or something like that, like they did with Thanos in the Avengers. But they didn't. They went with something that I did not expect at all. I really didn't expect it. It was Deathstroke. He got to like a yacht. He got there, all fucking dressed up, looking awesome. And Lex Luthor is there. He's managed to get himself out of prison, and they have a conversation about why not form a League of Our Own. And that's how it ends. I mean, that I didn't expect it all. It was awesome. Deathstroke looked really, really cool. He took his helmet off. He looked awesome. Can't remember the actor that's going to be playing him, but perfect. Right from the comic book. Really good. And I'm kind of glad that Lex Luthor's back into it, because I don't want him to just be BVS and that's it, job done. I want to have more of him. Hopefully not as crazy as last time. Hopefully he's kind of sorted himself out now, but he looks like Lex Luthor now. Full on suit, bald head, looking cool. Overall, guys, Justice League, a lot of fun. Worth £10 a ticket. I mean, I really enjoyed myself. Yes, it has some negatives, a little bit rushed here and there. A couple of things kind of not explained, but you'll probably get more of an explanation later on. But, you know, the positives outweigh the negatives. I understand why people might not like it, but I really enjoyed myself. It was a proper, awesome comic book film, and I'm looking forward to the further in the DC universe, because, you know, it has been floundering up and down for a few years now, and this is giving it a big push in the right direction. So, I mean, it's perfectly fair to give it 3 stars. So that's what I thought of the Justice League movie. What did you think about it? Let me know down in the comments, or send me an email. You can also find me on the various social media: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram and Tumblr. So just type in Nerdbytes anywhere and I'm sure you'll find me. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share my videos. And of course, keep it nerdy.